Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive. This time we're heading to a place that's been on my list forever, the legendary Tirumala Tirupati Temple.
Ah, Thirupathi. It's truly iconic. One of the most revered Vishnu temples in India.
And as you know, it's part of our larger project here, right? Exploring all 108 Divya Desams.
Precisely. Each one with its own unique stories and significance.
And Thirupathi. It's often called Bhuloka Vaikuntham, right? The earthly abode of Lord Venkateswara.
Exactly. And the source material is incredible. Ancient Puranas, historical accounts, even records from British colonial times. They all point to something really special about this place.
Okay, so let's break this down. You've got a bustling town built around the temple. 14,000 employees. Millions of devotees. Incredible wealth. It's almost overwhelming. What makes Tirumala Tirupati stand out, even among all the other Divya Desams? Why has it drawn such immense devotion and resources throughout history?
Well, to start answering that, we need to look at the heart of the temple, the deity itself.
The statue of Lord Venkateswara.
Yes. Imagine standing before this grand statue, at least 9 or 10 feet tall, standing on a lotus pedestal. During the Friday Abhishekam, the ritual bathing, all the ornaments are removed, and you're left with the raw power of this imposing figure.
Wow, I can almost picture it. I remember reading about how the priests are dwarfed by this giant statue performing this ancient ritual. There's even a debate about whether the deity is actually Vishnu or Shiva, right?
Right, but there's strong evidence pointing towards Vishnu. The Always hymns, for example, dedicate beautiful devotional songs to Venkateswara as an incarnation of Vishnu.
Oh, right, the Alwars.
And then there's the Tamil epic Silappatikaram, which also supports this view. Plus, the iconography, the specific hand gestures of the statue, they tell a very specific story.
Oh yeah, the mudras. I was so fascinated by those descriptions. Tell me more about those, especially the Varada Hasta and the Katyavalambitta Hasta. What do those symbolize?
Well, the Varada Hasta, with the palm facing outwards and fingers pointing down, signifies the granting of boons.
It's a gesture of reassurance, right? Like protection.
Yeah, exactly. Almost like Venkateswara is saying, I am here, I will provide.
That's beautiful. And what about the Katyavalambitta Hasta?
That one, with the fingers resting on the thigh, symbolizes the support and refuge he offers. It suggests that even the trials and tribulations of life, symbolized by the knee, are manageable when you have the Lord's support.
It's amazing how much meaning is packed into those seemingly simple gestures. And then there's that fascinating detail about the scar on the Lord's shoulder. It could be from carrying a bow in a past life, right?
That's where things get really interesting. It connects to stories in the Puranas about Vishnu's previous incarnations and battles.
Puranas?
Yes, the Hindu scriptures. You see, in Hinduism, deities aren't static figures. They have these rich histories and complex backstories that add layers to their significance. This scar hints at a warrior aspect of Venkateswara, a protector god who has fought for the good of humanity in previous lives.
So it's not just a statue, it's an embodiment of stories, of beliefs, of centuries of devotion. Speaking of stories, what about those 7 sacred hills? Each one has a different name and a captivating tale, right?
Absolutely. The Tirumala Hills themselves are steeped in mythology and history. Each name, like Venkatadri, Narayanadri, and Seshachalam, reflects a different aspect of the site's sacred significance.
Layers upon layers of stories woven into the very landscape of the place. I remember reading about Sankana Maharaja. He loses his kingdom, but regains it after praying at the Swami Pushkarini, one of the many Tirthas on the hills.
The Tirthas, the sacred water sources.
Yes, and that story, it's about faith, divine intervention, but also about the power of perseverance, never giving up hope.
And then you have the tale of those monkeys in Rama's army during the Ramayana. They stumble upon the divine Vaikunta cave while searching for Sita. These monkeys, they weren't even actively seeking liberation, but they get a glimpse of Vaikunta, a realm typically reserved for the most devout.
It sounds like Tirumala has this unique element of unexpected grace.
Perhaps. It's not just about seeking liberation, but about the grace of Venkateswara being available to anyone, even those who aren't actively pursuing it. Maybe this accessibility is part of the temple's appeal.
It's almost as if the divine is being playful, showering blessings in unexpected places. Speaking of, over 1,000 Tirthas, it's hard to grasp that number, as if every spring and stream on those hills is imbued with a special kind of energy. The stories about those 7 Mokta Tirthas, the ones believed to grant liberation, Those really stuck with me.
Well, in Hinduism, water holds deep symbolism for purification and renewal. These tirthas offer a tangible way to connect with the divine, to cleanse not just the body, but the soul.
It's like a ritual reset button, and each Tirtha has its own story, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Like the tale of Athmarama, the troubled Brahmin who finds solace and a divine vision after bathing in the Swami Pushkarini.
Wow. It's a reminder that sometimes a simple act of cleansing can reset our inner compass and help us find our way forward.
Indeed. And then there's the story of Tirumala Nambi, who discovers the Akasaganga spring after a divine encounter. It's almost like a direct gift from Venkateswara.
A readily available source of purity. No wonder pilgrims flock to these Tirthas. They're not just water sources, they're tangible points of connection to the divine, to grace, to healing. But that's not the only way devotees experience Venkateswara's presence. The Puranas are full of stories of him interacting with his devotees, showcasing his compassion and the transformative power of Bhakti, or devotion.
And these stories, they're all about the accessibility of the divine, the idea that grace is available to anyone who seeks it with a sincere heart. It's a core theme that seems to run through everything we're learning about Tirumala Tirupati. It's not about being the most knowledgeable or worthy, but about approaching the divine with an open heart, with sincere devotion.
I'm thinking of the story of Thondaman, the devoted king who built a magnificent temple for Venkateswara. The sheer scale of his devotion, the lengths he went to express his love and gratitude. It's inspiring, this willingness to give so much, to pour your heart and soul into honoring the divine.
It speaks to the depth of his bhakti, absolutely. And then there's the story of Rangadasa, a devotee so immersed in singing the Lord's praises that he dies mid-song, literally reaching a state of divine union. His devotion transcended the physical realm, becoming a path to liberation.
And then there's that story about the mud flowers that appeared on the Lord's feet, demonstrating the power of sincere devotion. Even the simplest offering, given with a pure heart, can hold immense significance. It reminds us that connecting with the divine doesn't require grand gestures. It's about the sincerity of our intentions, the purity of our devotion.
It all points to this concept of divine play, or leelas. The Lord, in his compassion, engages with his devotees in ways that are often unexpected, seemingly miraculous. It reinforces the idea that the divine isn't this distant, unapproachable force, but rather a presence that's constantly interacting with the world, responding to the calls of sincere devotees. And speaking of ways to connect with Venkateswara, we can't forget the music. The sheer volume of musical compositions dedicated to him is incredible.
Oh, absolutely. Annamacharya with his 32,000 songs. And then you have legendary composers like Thagaraja and Bruno Dadasa. It's a whole world of devotional music just waiting to be explored.
And it's not just background music. These compositions are expressions of longing, of gratitude, of complete surrender to the divine. It's another facet of this intricate tapestry of devotion that makes Tirumala Tirupati so unique. So we've talked about Venkateswara's magnetic pull, right? This sense of his accessibility and grace. But to truly understand the experience of being there at Tirumala, I think we need to step into the rhythm of the temple itself, the daily rituals that shape the lives of those who live and breathe this devotion.
I was so fascinated by all the descriptions of the daily rituals, the meticulous care, the centuries-old traditions. It's like stepping back in time, witnessing this symphony of devotion played out every single day.
Exactly. It starts before dawn with the Suprabhatam.
The Suprabhatam.
It's a collection of hymns that gently awaken the Lord. Imagine the stillness of those pre-dawn hours, the temple slowly coming to life as these sacred verses fill the air.
Wow, it's like waking the deity with music.
Yeah.
I love that imagery. And then there's the Thomala Seva, right? Where they adorn Venkateswara with those beautiful garlands of flowers.
Yes. The Thomala Seva is all about adornment, honoring the deity with beauty and fragrance, and the flowers themselves are symbolic, representing the purity and devotion of the devotees. It's a deeply personal act of service, expressing bhakti through the careful creation and offering of these beautiful garlands.
It's like creating a masterpiece of devotion every single day.
Yeah.
What about the Koluvu, that daily durbar where they present the temple's income to Venkateswara? It's almost like they're running a business with the Lord as the CEO.
It's a fascinating ritual. On the surface, it might just seem like a simple accounting procedure, but it goes much deeper than that. It's a symbolic act of surrender, recognizing that everything ultimately belongs to the divine. They're acknowledging Venkateswara as the ultimate owner, the steward of all the temple's wealth.
So they're not just presenting the finances, they're reading the almanac, sharing upcoming events. It's like they're keeping Venkateswara in the loop, included in the daily life of the temple.
Precisely. acknowledging his presence in every aspect of the temple's operations, seeking his guidance and blessings. And then, of course, there's the elaborate offering of food, the Naivedhyam. The descriptions and the sources were so vivid, the sheer variety of dishes, the meticulous preparation, it's a culinary symphony.
Oh, I can almost smell the aromas wafting from those kitchens.
Mhm.
It's not just about feeding the deity, though, is it? It's about sharing that sacred food, the prasadam, with the devotees.
Absolutely. Think about it. You're a pilgrim. You've journeyed all the way to Tirumala. You're standing in this sacred space. The air is thick with incense. You hear the chanting, and then you receive this prasadam, food that's been offered to Venkateswara himself. It's believed to be imbued with his blessings, and partaking in it becomes an act of communion, a way of receiving the Lord's grace directly.
So everyone partakes this divine feast, united in their devotion to Venkateswara. But these daily rituals, these are just the tip of the iceberg, right? We also have this whole calendar of festivals and special occasions, each one adding another layer to the experience of Tirumala Tirupati.
Oh, absolutely. We could spend hours discussing the festivals alone. Each one has its unique rituals, its own mythology, its own way of drawing devotees closer to the divine. Take the Brahmotsavam, for instance. It's a 10-day extravaganza, a celebration of cosmic renewal and divine grace.
That sounds incredible. I was especially drawn to the Garuda Seva, where Venkateswara is carried on the back of Garuda, his mythical eagle mount. That imagery is so powerful.
It's a sight to behold. And then you have the chariot festival, the Ratha Yatra, where they place the deity on this massive, beautifully decorated chariot and pull it through the streets. Can you imagine the energy, the excitement, the collective devotion of all those people? It's a physical manifestation of Bhakti, a tangible expression of the love and reverence they have for Venkateswara.
It must be electrifying. And then we have the Friday Abhishekam, the ritual bathing we talked about earlier, where they strip the deity of all his adornments and reveal his pristine form.
Such a powerful act of purification and renewal, returning the deity to his original state of grace. It's like a symbolic washing away of all impurities. A fresh start for both the deity and the devotees who witness this sacred ritual.
It makes me think of all those, the Tirthas, the sacred water sources on the hills. We mentioned them before, but over 1,000 of them. It's almost overwhelming, and each one seems to have its own significance, its own story, its own power to cleanse and purify.
Well, the Tirthas are a tangible reminder of the divine presence that permeates all of Tirumala. They're not just sources of water, but sources of grace, of healing, of spiritual renewal, like the Papavinasana Tirtham, for example.
Oh, Papavinasana Tirtham.
It's a waterfall believed to wash away sins. This cascading water represents the cleansing power of the divine, right? The ability to erase even the deepest karmic stains.
It's like a physical manifestation of forgiveness, of second chances. What about the Akasa Ganga, that spring that's said to have sprung forth from the sky? It sounds almost magical.
It's a reminder that grace can appear in the most unexpected ways, that the divine operates beyond our limited understanding. All these stories and rituals, they're interwoven, interconnected. Like threads in this intricate tapestry of devotion, they weave together a narrative that's both ancient and eternally relevant, offering us a glimpse into what makes Tirumala Tirupati so unique.
It's a story told through actions, through symbolism, through the dedication and devotion of countless individuals over centuries. Speaking of stories embedded in the very fabric of the temple, I was just completely awestruck by the descriptions of the Ananda Nilaya Vimanam, that golden tower that rises above the Sanctum Sanctorum. It's not just beautiful, but it's also a symbolic representation of Mount Meru, the mythical abode of the gods, isn't it?
Yes, it's a breathtaking sight. And it's not just decorative. That golden tower is literally pointing towards the heavens, connecting the earthly realm to the divine. It's a powerful reminder of the connection between human and the divine, the tangible and the intangible.
Like a beacon, guiding pilgrims towards the sacred heart of the temple. And that's just one example, right? Every detail, the carvings on the pillars, the layout of the temple complex, seems to be imbued with meaning, with layers of symbolism that speak to the deeper truths of Hinduism.
Exactly. Tirumala Tirupati isn't just a place of worship, it's a treasure trove of knowledge, a living testament to the richness and depth of Hindu tradition. It invites us to delve deeper, to decipher those hidden meanings, to appreciate the beauty and complexity of this ancient faith. And speaking of ways to connect with the divine, we can't forget the music.
Oh, right. We touched upon it earlier, but the music is such a vital part of the experience of Tirumala Tirupati. The sheer volume of compositions dedicated to Venkateswara is just staggering. It's not just Annamacharya and his 32,000 songs. There are generations of composers who've poured their hearts and souls into expressing their devotion through music. It's like this incredible river of song flowing through the centuries, connecting generations of devotees through the shared language of music. And it's not just about quantity, but about quality, about the depth of emotion, the sincerity of bhakti expressed through these musical offerings. Do we have any excerpts in our source material? I'd love to just hear a snippet, get a sense of the power of this musical tradition.
I believe we do. Imagine yourself standing in the temple, surrounded by fellow devotees, the air thick with incense. You hear the chanting, and then you hear this. Play a brief excerpt of a devotional song dedicated to Venkateswara. It's a glimpse into the heart of Tirumala Tirupati, the soul of a tradition that continues to thrive, to evolve, and to inspire.
It's breathtaking. You can feel the devotion, the longing, the pure joy of connecting with the divine through music. No wonder this tradition has endured for centuries. But music isn't the only way people across cultures and time periods have connected with Venkateswara. We talked about those British officials who sought his blessings, but our research also uncovered historical records of rulers, kings, and queens across different dynasties, showering the temple with patronage, making these grand gestures of devotion.
Absolutely. Those inscriptions on the temple walls aren't just historical curiosities, they're testaments to the enduring power of Tirumala Tirupati. We see things like Krishna Devaraya not just making offerings, but actively participating in rituals, commissioning grand renovations, ensuring the temple's continued prosperity. Their actions really demonstrate how deeply intertwined the temple was, and still is, with the political and cultural landscape of the region.
It wasn't just a place of worship. It was a symbol of power, of prestige, of divine favor. Kings sought Venkateswara's blessings not just for personal reasons, but for the well-being of their kingdoms, for prosperity and stability. It shows this deep belief in the divine's active role in worldly affairs.
Exactly. These rulers, they understood that the divine was a force to be reckoned with, a power that could influence the fate of nations. It's a perspective that might seem foreign to us today, but it highlights the profound influence that Tirumala Tirupati has held throughout history.
It's amazing how these historical records give us these glimpses into the past, revealing the motivations, the beliefs, even the aspirations of people from centuries ago. They become more than just names in a textbook. They become real people with hopes and fears and desires just like us. And their stories, their acts of devotion, they still resonate with us today. Because at its core, Tirumala Tirupati is about something incredibly human, that yearning for connection, for meaning, for something that transcends the limitations of our everyday lives.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's about seeking solace in the face of hardship, expressing gratitude for blessings received, finding hope in a world that can often feel chaotic and uncertain. And Tirumala Tirupati, with its rich history, its vibrant rituals, its accessible deity, it offers a path towards that connection, a beacon of hope for millions.
It's been an incredible journey so far, wouldn't you say? From the soaring heights of those 7 sacred hills to the intricate details of the rituals, the symbolism, the music, the stories. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface, but I already feel this deeper appreciation for what makes Tirumala Tirupati such a powerful and enduring symbol of faith.
And despite its grandeur, its opulence, its historical significance, at its heart, Tirumala Tirupati is about something so simple. The power of a single act of devotion, a prayer whispered, a flower offered, a song sung with a sincere heart. These are the building blocks of this incredible tradition, the individual expressions of faith that, when combined, create something truly awe-inspiring.
It's a powerful reminder that the divine isn't this distant, unapproachable entity, but rather a presence that's always available to us, waiting to be discovered in the stillness of our hearts, in the beauty of a sunrise, in the melody of a devotional song. There's one more aspect of Tirumala Tirupati that I'm really curious about, though. We've explored the devotion, the rituals, the history, but what about the people who bring this place to life every single day? The priests, the administrators, the countless individuals working behind the scenes to maintain this sacred space.
That's an excellent point. We can't truly grasp the essence of Tirumala Tirupati without understanding the human element, the individuals who dedicate their lives to serving the sacred space.
It really is amazing to think about all the people working behind the scenes tirelessly to make this incredible experience possible for millions of pilgrims. It takes a whole community to keep this sacred space running smoothly.
Oh, it absolutely does. And the roles they play, well, they're as diverse as the devotees themselves.
That's true.
We have the priests, of course. They're the ones performing those intricate daily rituals and ceremonies. maintaining that unbroken chain of tradition, stretching back centuries. Just imagine the dedication it takes to memorize those complex rituals, to perform them with precision and reverence day after day.
It's more than a job, it's a life of service, a commitment to upholding the sacred traditions of Tirumala Tirupati.
You could say they're like the guardians of the temple's spiritual heart.
Yes, exactly. But it's not just the priests, right? There's a whole administrative structure in place, managing everything from finances to security to crowd control.
Right. Remember those 14,000 employees we talked about? They're cooks, cleaners, gardeners, accountants, security personnel.
It really does take a village, or in this case, a small city.
Precisely.
I'm curious about the people who prepare the Naivedhyam, that elaborate offering of food we were discussing earlier. I imagine it must take a very special kind of skill and devotion to prepare those meals.
Oh, absolutely. These cooks aren't just preparing meals, they're creating offerings for the divine. They follow strict guidelines using specific ingredients, techniques passed down for generations. Their work is truly a form of bhakti, a way of expressing their love for Venkateswara through the creation of these beautiful and delicious offerings.
Almost like they're feeding the soul of the temple, along with the pilgrims.
You could say that. And then you have the people who care for the temple itself, right? The gardeners tending those beautiful flower gardens, the cleaners ensuring every corner sparkles, the artisans maintaining the intricate carvings and decorations.
Their work might seem mundane at times, but it's all infused with this sense of purpose, of contributing to something larger than themselves.
It's about service, about offering their skills and talents to honor Venkateswara, and you see their dedication reflected in the pristine condition of the temple, the peaceful atmosphere, the sense of reverence that just pervades every corner.
It must take a special kind of person to dedicate their life to that kind of service, to put the needs of the temple and the pilgrims above their own.
It certainly does. And their stories, well, they're often overlooked, but they're just as integral to the tapestry of Tirumala Tirupati as the grand rituals and ancient legends. These individuals, with their quiet dedication and unwavering faith, are really the living heart of this sacred place.
This entire deep dive, it's really been like a journey of discovery. We started with this simple question: what makes Tirumala Tirupati so unique? And we've uncovered all these layers of history, mythology, devotion, music, even the lives of the people who serve the temple.
And through it all, we've seen how these seemingly disparate elements, they weave together to create this place of immense power and beauty. It's a place where the divine feels almost tangible, where ancient traditions truly come alive, where human devotion finds its ultimate expression.
It's been inspiring, really inspiring. If anyone listening is feeling that tug of curiosity, that yearning to learn more, maybe even to experience Tirumala Tirupati for yourself, I encourage you to follow that impulse. Pick up a book on the temple, delve deeper into those stories, listen to some of that incredible devotional music, or even better, plan a trip. Go experience the magic of Tirumala firsthand.
And remember, this is just one of the 108 Divya Desams. Each one has its own unique treasures, its own stories, its own connection to the divine. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that spark of curiosity alive.
Until our next deep dive, everyone, may your journeys be filled with wonder and discovery.